Let's bring in our guest this hour, criminal defense attorney, former head prosecutor Bob Bianchi. Of course, Bob, thank you for joining us both on the show today. It is appropriate, based on the conviction by the jury, weigh in on what you think of the sentence, as well as what you thought hearing from some of the defendant's family that was just speaking to him about, hey, we support you.
So glad you asked me that question. Exactly, Judge. What went through my mind is that when I used to be with my prosecutors in the homicide squad, I used to tell them all the time, there's so much human nature that's going into these cases. Look beyond the nuts and bolts. And what we saw is an insight. Now, what was done by the defendant is a horrible, horrific act that needed to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. But in most instances, we're dealing with a situation here like we do in most homicide cases. We can lose sight of that when we do what it is that we do, when we highlight the most sensational of the homicide cases. That many of them are shaken baby cases, passion provocation cases, things where a person has led an otherwise law-abiding life. When as a prosecutor, you're looking into their background and you're listening to someone like that old lady who's talking about the bunny and how gentle you were and the time that they went on the Thanksgiving trip together, you realize there's a whole human being behind this. And because of a slip moment, many times, because of anger that's out of control, because of something where a person snaps, they do the unthinkable and then pay the consequences of it for the rest of their lives and the family's life. And of course, the victims' lives will never be the same, in addition to the fact that a young child is taken away. So while I completely understand why the prosecutor did what he did, I did it many, many years myself. As a prosecutor sitting there, I can't help in many cases think that this is an otherwise law-abiding person that did a horrible thing with tragic consequences. And I'm not sure where I'm going with it other than they're all not just evil, horrible human beings, even though they may have done an evil, horrible act.
And it is an act that even the mother, Matt, we watched her give a statement that was short to say, you've ruined my life.
Well, there's that. And then, you know, what's with these killers, these convicted killers that don't want to pay restitution, like Brian Coberger and Dena recently? I mean, what is with that?
That's a really good point, because you're right. We're seeing that more often in trials that we're covering. All right, Bob, stand by if you would, please, sir, before we go to break.